Okay, we're all good and ready. So I am saying good morning to everyone. And as always, I'm so happy to see us and you and me again. But I'm hoping that you guys had a good weekend and everything's going along well for you. And getting into what I did today for my wow. And the word that I originally chose for today, I decided not to go with that today, and I changed it to Mary has this look up, and I changed it this morning because I was watching. I'm always watching something, and I was watching all the facial expression of the people that I was viewing, or people that are in the news, and it just seems that we are not smiling anymore. And I understand why. So the word I decided to go with today is the word smile. And because it's really important to smile. A smile, if it's sincere, really projects what's inside that person. But sometimes even you feel like you don't want to smile. I feel if you try to, it definitely can change your mindset. And these are my words that I came up with. And what it says is, or I feel if you smile more, you will frown less.
Yeah.
And that's important. And I do remember, I think growing up, they always said a smile is a frown turned upside down. Yeah, but the thing is, so I want to get into some action this time. So that's where my word smile is. And the word I originally, I won't tell you what it is. I'll save that for another time. And when I do tell you what that word is, I'll reference back to the fact that that was the word I'm going with. So that's my word for the week. And I'm going to try to put it in action. I think sometimes when we put things in action, it requires us to do something. I don't want to always look at passive words. Any question, comments, or thoughts?
Very good word, because I don't smile either.
I know you don't, but Annie does, and Pat does. When you say something to her, she'll smile. But I just think, really, smiles leave an impression on people. And I think I may have commented to Annie about this before, that she really has a very inviting, pleasant smile.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Very much so. So that's it. Okay, my announcements. Just reminding you guys that this Friday is our Halloween masquerade event. And it starts at 10 o'clock on Fridays from 10 to 11:30. And I am hoping with all of my heart that you guys will join in. I think if you do, you'll have fun. Of course, we're going to have our pumpkin judging contest. A lot of the staff will be in costumes. You're free to do your dress up. You don't have to be a part of it if you want to. In the past, when we had these Halloween celebrations at Darnell, it was always a big thing. And people came in costumes, and it was just fun. It really was. So we're trying to do that as best we can, using the Zoom concept. And thus far, what we've been able to review in preparation for Friday, I think it's going to be a fun time. I do. So just keep that in mind. And hopefully I will see you all there. And if you plan to enter your pumpkin in the pumpkin challenge, make sure you have it ready by 10 o'clock to show it when we get ready, when we start up. So we will review them and have discussion, and there will be first, second, and third prize, which we've always done in the past. And I must say, some people have been extremely creative with pumpkins. And your pumpkin can be plastic. It can be made out of anything you want it to. It can be real, however you want, or whatever material you choose. But that's what we'll be doing. And I know they will have some line dancing things and trivia things and word scrambles, and it's be fun. So if you can, try to be in attendance, okay? And lastly, I want to ask, did you guys get the current virtual class schedule? I think it ends like November 11th or something, so we're good. And for that event, on that, if you have that, the link for joining in the Halloween festivities is on that sheet. If you don't have it, let me know and I will give you the access. I had it somewhere, account for that. Find it, but the link is on there. Oh, I have it here, if anybody needs it. You guys know how to just open up Zoom and do the join, correct?
Yeah.
And you can just put in the access code, okay. All right, so does anybody need the information for Friday's link?
I'll take it anyway.
All right, and Mary, I think you contacted this facility.
Yeah.
We were talking yesterday. I know that you are being added to the one call now. The link number is 3529 103 639
Oh, 352 9
103
103
639.
639.
And the password is FIT1. And I think the FIT is a capital F. FIT1.
Is that a number one?
It's FIT, F-I-T, numeric 1.
Okay.
And the F in FIT, I think, is capitalized.
Yeah.
I think. Okay. So we're good?
Good.
All right. Does anybody else have any information or something I missed to share? We're good? All right. So I want to go into do the show and tell, and then I want to get back into talking about the macrame. Okay. And you guys know if you have any question at any point, just raise your hand and I'll be able to see you.
Okay.
Sorry, hopefully my, I'm not gonna lose my Wi-Fi stuff here.
It's ugly outside.
Sharing with Annie, we had a power outage for almost 3 hours yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah. And I had to reset everything. So I'll give you all one guess. Who's this?
Mary. Beautiful.
Right. I love the spiral disc on this.
Wow.
Great. And Miss Mary remembered that to make sure her twirls or curls were in the right direction for earrings. You know, sometimes people don't think about the fact when you go from one ear to the other, you need to make certain that the direction of your piece. I mean, although there's nothing wrong if it's in a different direction, that's fine too, but I'm saying she did. But I love these. It looks really good.
Thank you.
And I'm so impressed at the loops and things you're making.
That's beautiful therapy.
Yeah, I know you said that it is. And I think I responded to you on these pieces for submitting those, because what this represents is Mary using the macrame technique, square knots,
Okay.
in her jewelry.
Yeah.
See that?
That's nice.
This is macrame and using a square knot application. And this just shows you another way. And I always think it's great when you can do a square knot. And I reference that because that's one of the basic knots. Because many times if you're making a piece of jewelry and it's good because you can make your ropes out of it, which is what she's done here. Yeah, you know, sometimes you just don't have that chain or you want to do something different or something like that. This is another great way to use that technique of doing those square knots where you can change your pieces. And this looks really, really good.
My books.
Mhm. And this is something, I mean, Mary learned this in class also, but this is, I mean, this is basic stuff. And I want to reference the chords because I'm going to talk about chords because I do remember Pat, you asking about chords. But these are examples because your chords can be any material that you want them to be. I'm not sure.
Can I say something?
Sure, go right ahead.
What I did was when I did the orange one, I was trying to do it with like the two chords going down the middle, but the bead hole was so small, so I had to use a different diameter cord going down the center to use the beads.
And that's a good point. And I'll talk about that because when I show them the chords, but that's exactly, you have to make adjustments, but it doesn't change what the square knot is about. I was trying to determine, is this this isn't paracord, is it?
No, it's just
Okay.
regular cord. I bought so much cord when we was doing that, I got
Right.
drunk of it.
Right. All right.
I got more cord though.
So we good? But I do thank you for Mary for sending that in since we were going to be talking about macrame again.
Well, I love it.
Oh yeah. It's and what's neat about macrame is it's one of those mindless things that you honestly can do while you watching TV and other things because it doesn't. It's I don't want to say it doesn't require a lot of oops I mess up thing, and if you do, you know, it's very easy to pull it out or something like that. And of course, just show you this again. This, of course, is one of the bracelets I wear a lot. And these are wooden beads here. But this on the side, you may not be able to see, but these are just simply square knots. That's all this is. And where Mary may have used beads, I just use a long tube bead to slide in the middle of mine. And these are the ends that I just, of the number of cords that I had, and I just tied them off. And for me, I just put a like a wooden bead at the end so I could have that hang down.
Angle too.
And it just has a slider cord on it. So I'm going to stop this for a moment. And so the key thing is about the macrame itself. And of course, macrame is a technique where you take cords, and what you do is you take these cords and you make knots with them, and it creates a decorative piece. And many of you may have remembered from years ago, we all had the macrame flower hanger and this and that. And there are so many different knots out here. But the primary knot that has become most popular is what we call a square knot. And you can have a half square, which is half of a wrap, and a full, and doing both sides turning into what we call a full square. So you'll see that, but that's the key thing about macrame, and there's so many decorative things. And one of the things that really brought macrame back into the jewelry making technique is based upon what they call the Shambhala, Shambala, I think it is. Shambhala bracelets becoming extremely popular again. Shambhala bracelets were usually done by other cultures, and they did what they call, I'm just looking at that, you know how they would do the prayer beads?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the concept that a lot of people were using, is creating these jewelry pieces or bracelet pieces that incorporated beads that meant something. And most time it was done as a reference to meditation or prayer or something like that. And I do have to find it because I have a list that was given to me by someone that used to be in my class a long time ago from Ethiopia. And she gave me a list of the beads colors and what each bead color meant. And I do have that, I just have to find it. So that when I do, I'll share that with you. So if you were putting together Shambhala bracelet and you want, and it doesn't mean you have to use that. I mean, we had people in class that did the bracelets and they add a bead color for like their kids or their grandkids. and different things. So your bracelet can represent whatever it is that you want it to. It just doesn't change the fact that we secure the beads in place by using the square knots. Okay? And feel free to ask questions. Now, when Pat, you mentioned, asked me last week, I think it was, about what materials do we use.
Yes.
I like to, let me just change this for a minute. This is my clipboard. I don't know, can you see this okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I always prefer using a clipboard that has this full bar piece, because you can get clipboards now that have that little spacing in between. But I prefer this type of clipboard because it's really, really tight and it secures your threads. Because the thing that's makes it much easier to do this is when your threads, you can anchor them and they're tight and don't have slack in them. Because then otherwise you got to keep going back and adjusting your work. So in addition to the clipboard, I always have like a binder clip at the end. And what it does is it holds my threads in place. Okay, so the first thing that you need, of course, is having a clipboard, a clip, a binder clip. And as far as your threads or material, is any material a thread that you want to work with? I mean, I've seen people do a square knot using ribbon. If that's the effect that you want, it does not matter. This is like an upholstery thread here that I like, because if I'm making a bracelet, you really have to consider the whole size of the beads, which is what Mary pointed out in her piece, that when she got ready to add her beads, she needed to change her middle cord so that it was thin enough to go through the eye of her beads. This is great. This is, I got this thread out of the knitting department or wherever they sell crochet threads and things like that. I haven't used this yet, but it's a much finer as far as thickness, but you know, it's something that can work. This is paracord, and it's really thick. We made the paracord bracelets, and that was doing an entire square stitch with no beads or anything most time in between. Paracord, the military uses paracord a lot. I don't know if you remember seeing a lot of people that were in the military, the men would have on these bracelets, and it was just a woven piece, and it's clipped together, because those paracord bracelets, what they call life-saving bracelets. Paracord made from military grade material, extremely strong. A person could unravel that and use it to help pull themselves up. So that's where paracord came in. So that's another material I like to use. I think this was raffia. This is a piece that was done. And I think this is raffia that this material is. But this is doing a macrame type technique, but it's all being done from one side, which causes it to have a twirl to it. But right now I'm just showing you some material, so don't focus on that too much. And so in essence, what I'm saying is your material can be anything that you want to braid out of. I mean, I've even done the paracord thing, but rather than use a paracord, I use shoelaces. You have the long shoelaces. So, you know, it's again, whatever you like to use is what you can think about. Now, do you have any questions at this point? So I'm gonna try again and do this video. Hopefully I got the sound thing right this time, because one of the things I find is about working sometime with Zoom, it doesn't allow you to get into seeing your hands the way you need to sometimes. And even though I've tried, I've either got to do live view because I have several different tripods where I can angle down on my hand, but I found it's best to try to do the video clip first and then go back to it. Because and then honestly adding to this, what I did is, you may not be able to see this bend. So I even took my bend and put the top on it to see if I could, in a different view, if I could raise my hands enough so you can see it. But it really doesn't work well. So I'm still trying to figure things out, but I'm just saying there's some other options and things that I like to look at. So one day I will come up with a fix. Well, this is how you, and I even thought about doing a webcam so that it's, in that respect. And trying to get one in a timely manner is like another challenge. But let's see what we can do this time about the recording thing here. Okay, let's close that out. And I'm going to tell it to share my computer sound this time. I'm sorry, everything's kind of. So what this video is focusing on, just the initial setup.
Okay,
Can you hear it?
what we have here is
Yes.
my setup for macrame. I have a clipboard, I have a large clip, and I have some thread. The key thing about the macrame is making a square knot. And this is accomplished by taking your, what we call wrapping threads. Left, for me, is my right and my left. And the concept is that you're going to take your wrapping threads and cross over your core thread. So doesn't matter whether you start from the right or left first. But in this process, I'm going to start from my left thread. So I will take it and cross over my core. I will take my right, cross over, and I will go up under my core. And then I will pull the knot in place. Since I started from the left before, I'll go to my right and cross over my core, bring over my left cord, pass under my core, and then pull it. Now we have a full square knot. So once again, we're going, crossing over the core, taking the wrapping cord, going up under my core, and pulling it in place. That's a half square. So now we're going over again, crossing over, coming up under the core, and pulling it in place. Now we have a full square knot.
Okay. That's the concept behind your getting the square knots in place. And let me stop this for a moment. Okay, let me just change this. So when you see this, and let me just take this off. So what we normally do is with starting this out, and it just depends. If you were going to say, make your bracelet and you knew that you wanted to have a toggle closure or a different type of closure, what I did with this is I took 2 pieces of cord, and mine were, each one was 36 inches long, okay? And I folded those 2 36-inch pieces together in equal amount so that I got really 4 separate, when I equal them out, the 2 36 long at 18, what I did was I made a knot, just do an overhand knot. And tell me if you can see this. I made an overhand knot, which tied them all together. So what I did is I ended up with 4 cords. And so when I separated them, so that I would have a right and a left cord, and the remaining 2 cords became my core. My core is the center cord that you wrap around in order to create your knots. Now, so when you get everything set up and with this knot in place, which secures my cords, I took them and I anchored them up under my clip so they would hold them tight. And then from there, I separated my cords and I took my core cords, my center cords, and I secured them with my binder clip. And that's what your setup looks like. Okay. So where you guys sit, what you're looking at, you just have to let me know, because bear in mind what I'm seeing is slightly different than what you may be seeing on the screen. I'm just trying to tighten this up and straighten. Okay. So your board's going to look like that. So you're going to end up with these wings, or what call your wrapping cords. Okay. So you have a right and a left. And essentially what's happening is, I always had, would say this little thing is like, whichever side you start from, right or left, it's like I'm going to take my cord, cross over my core, and take the other opposite cord and just cross over and go up under the core and pull it in place. If you do not alternate your cords, like when I do like a one side, I think when I share with you like what a half knot is, it's like when you do the first half, if you continue to wrap from the one side only and not, you know, right, left, right, however you start, you're going to get this swirl to your knotting, because all of it is coming from one side. So it's going to cause it to curl. And sometimes people want that. I mean, which is, there's no problem. But right now, I'm just trying to get you, because if you can see this, this looks like this because initially it was all twirl from one side, you know, just doing one side. So in that respect, what happens is, because I made this loop at the top when I started this, let me see this. What I would do is, because I started with a loop, I would probably close my other end with a button or something that will fit over this loop, since I already have a loop here. But what I just want you guys to focus on now is doing the square knot, because you can make your entire bracelet out of doing a square knot, not with anything else. So same principle here. But this is where the beads have been added. All right. You all are real quiet, so I can't tell. Pat, do you have a question?
Well, I guess I'm a little confused on that, the starting loop. I know you said that you had, you cut your, did you cut the cord to have the 4 pieces? And
Yes.
I guess I just got a little confused on how you created that loop.
No problem. If you bear with me for 1 second here. I have some scissors around here somewhere. He's just gonna say, excuse her for a moment. Okay, scissors in hand. I'm just cutting you 2 pieces of cords. All right. You look at this. These aren't necessarily the same length. Oh, I did pretty good. But I have two pieces of, that I cut from here,
Excuse me.
okay? So all I did was kind of equal my cords off. See that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. I equal this off.
Okay.
All I did is take my cords and I just did a loop. And
Okay. So you.
uh-huh. And if you know that you're going to add a button or something to the end, then you want to make your loop of a size that will fit over that button. If I
Okay.
knew when I get to the other end, I was going to. And this is the technique itself is no big deal. But the planning concept of knowing in advance, oh, when I do this, I'm going to put a button on it or I'm going to do whatever. What I will do is I'll show you next week how to take this. If you were going to add like just a regular metal clasp or something like that, what we normally do is, if I were going to add a closure here, is that I would go through the loop of that closure and do what we call a LARK, L-A-R-K knot, which is when I would slip it through and bring my other cords through and lock it down like that.
Okay.
There are about 3 or 4 knots in Duramaking I think it's important to know. Is knowing how to do square knot, is knowing how to do a LARK's head, I think is what they call it. And you can anchor things on without a lot of problems. But this is all I did with those cords that you saw.
Okay.
And from that point, it was just a matter of separating them so that I had a right and a left and a core. And this is
Yes.
the core.
Okay.
Now, there are times that you may not want to have a cord that has 2 cords down the middle. You may only want it to be one. So in that respect is what we do is we eliminate one of the cords. And it depends on when you want. See this? You see how there's 1, 2, 3 instead of 4? Because when I tie my cords together, when I did fold them in half, I clipped one of the core cords. So I would only have 3.
Okay.
And let me see. I have no time to do this. Let me just see if I can put it up from.
Okay,
Can you hear this?
here we are. Using a different clipboard setup. What I have is 3 pieces of cord that's all 18 inches long. I have taken these cords and I've tied them together, or knotted them together. I will attach them under the clip of my clipboard so that it's secure and tight. And I've already started doing a few square knots to anchor my piece in place. And as reflected on my previous video clip, is making a square knot. So in this circumstance, once again, I will take my wrapping cords, which is what I'm working with. This is my core, my solid cord, and it's the stabilizer, and it's the center of your macrame technique. I'm just trying to tighten this up a little bit so that it's centered. For some reason, it's not working real well today. I'm working on my kitchen counter at the moment, so there we go. So what we have is, and as I said, it's just me. I just start with my left cord. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to take my left cord and bring it across my core. I will take my right cord and cross over my left cord and go under my core and pull. What I just created is a half square knot. Repeating the process, I will take my right cord, cross over my core,
take my left and cross over my right and go under my cord. Now, when you want to add beads or other things to your piece, I like to string my beads on in advance. Some people choose not to do this. This is not a rule or anything, it's whatever works for you. So I'm going to add a bead to this process. So I will move my bead in place on my core cord, and then I will encase this bead in place by using my wrapping cords. So here we go again. So we have the left across the core, the right across the left, going up under the core thread or cord. And I will use it to encase this bead. Process again, we have the right over the core, the left over the right, and come up through the loop. Now we have a full square knot and a bead that's in place. And this process is repeated until you get your item as long as you want it to be. And that will be another session I'll talk about, but here we go again. So left over the core, right over the left, come up through the center of the loop. We have a half square knot. We have the right over the core, the left over the right, and we're going to come up through the loop, and now we have a full square knot. So next bead in place. And once again, this is a personal preference on how you want your design to be. So I am back to my left over the core, the right over the left, and we're coming up through the loop. Locking that in place. So we have right over the core, left over the right, and come up through the loop. And we have just completed a full square knot. And I'll add one more since we have two here. So once again, left over the core, right over the left, and up through the loop. So now we have a half square knot. We have the right over the core, the left over the right, and up through the loop. And there you are. So with that, I will say, thus far, if you follow this technique, you're on your way to becoming a macrame lover. I love it. Thanks. Okay, so that's how beads and other things are added. And honestly, it's a very relaxing thing. You can do so many things with it as long as you know that square knot. It's not a lot, and you saw some of the things that Mary did, of course, because it's one of those things, honestly, when you get the knots down. And originally, when I started with macrame years ago, I couldn't figure out in my mind the square knot. My nephew taught me the square knot because he was a Boy Scout. They learned all the knots. But I mean, of course, since then, and I have an app on my iPad. I think it's called Knots 3D. And I love this app because I think it shows you how to do about 90 different apps or something. Knots, I apologize. I do have it. But what I love about it is because it's 3D, it will automatically, show you visually on your screen how to do this. And what I will do is I've just got to find the app, and I will send you guys the name of the app I have. I think I paid maybe about $4 or something for it, but it's worth it. But I think it's called Knots 3D or something, but I will look for that. So what do you think?
Now, I never thought about the upholstery thread.
Oh yeah.
I've never thought about it because at one point we just OD'd in paracord. We were making all sorts of paracord bracelet, and we bought the paracord from Home Depot. It was pretty
Right.
reasonable there.
Yeah.
But now the upholstery, does it come in different colors?
I will probably say yes, but the way I got this in white is because a friend of mine, there was a sellout of some fabric store and she bought this for me. But what I do when I want colors is, like I said, is I have Sharpie pens all the time because I use Sharpies for a lot of other craft. And all I do is take my Sharpies and I will color my threads.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you let them dry real well, then because you know you have Sharpies are permanent inks.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, works for what I need. Because even sometimes if I'm doing a weaving technique and I may not have, like in some places where that thread may show you don't want it to, I use my Sharpies and I can ink it in and you don't even see it. I'm telling you all my secrets. I'm sorry. But it's things like, so I always keep the really what I call juicy Sharpie pens. Really.
Oh, but the upholstery thread, that's a good idea.
Because I
I'm
love
sorry.
the thickness of it.
But I'm
Also,
sorry, I would just go and buy the colors already.
well, but my point about it is, and don't get me wrong, I will buy colors, but sometimes you may not be able to find what you're looking for.
That
And
is true.
I plan on doing that. I always have what I call a technique or backup for something. I don't allow the fact that I want to do something XYZ and I don't have it on hand means I gotta wait for the mail or something like that to come. I just don't. Lastly, before we end, I wanted you to see this, Pat, like with this particular thread, when I did this, with the other two where I had the two long and I folded them in half and did an overhand knot. With this one, I cut 3 separate pieces of cord and I knotted them together. That's how I ended up with just one cord in my core.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I see. Yes. Okay.
So we got about 5 minutes. So tell me what you need. Yes, Mary, did you have a hand up? Oh, you have on your macrame bracelet now.
The twine needs to be a tightly wound twine, or you got to do something on the end of the ceiling if it's not real, if it come apart.
All right, what she's saying is, if like when you start dealing more with cords and other things, depending upon the material you use, and Chinese knotting cord is another one that we use a lot when we make Shambhala bracelet. What happens is sometimes your threads or cords can unravel, but all you have to do is have you some clear polish, fingernail polish, always paint down my ends so that it hardens. And when it hardens, I take my scissors and I clip them on an angle so you get a point to it and it works.
Okay.
Okay. So are we good thus far?
Yes.
Okay, because I particularly want to make sure, Pat, you're okay, because I can tell Ann has already done this before. So,
Yeah.
all right. What I'm saying to you is when you start trying to do this, if you have problems, honestly, just reach out, call me, or text me, whatever you want to do, and I'll get with you, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And I think I can share that last video, the doing the crossover. So if you need to get that, we can do that.
Yes, please. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. On that note, I think we had a good day today, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Sure did.
I think so. I think so. So.
I learned something.
That was a good one.
That's right. So next time I will focus more on alternate ways to add your closures to it, to the piece once you've done it. And we'll go forward from there. So if there's anything that you need me to focus on, send me a message, whatever you need to do, I'll get it researched and we'll go from there, or any idea that you come up with about it. But Mary, thank you so much. And I didn't ask her, she did send those pieces in. So I thought it was awfully good. Was there something you had made in the past, or did you do it between last week and this week?
Oh, the teal one I had made a little while back, but I had never sent it. But the orange one I made was the most current one I made.
Okay, okay, excellent. Well, on that note, I'm hoping that I will see you guys on Friday. And if I don't, regardless, enjoy the rest of your week. And remember, the word is to smile.
I'm sure gonna try, because Lord knows it's hard.
Well, I look, I'm gonna work on you. I'm making you my project. I'm gonna work on you with that smile. Okay, so enjoy your week. And
All right.
I will see about sharing that video with you, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, have a good day.
Have a great one,
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
everybody.